What's up, guys? I hope you're well. Chadeo here. Happy part 2 of the Four Ronnies Friday. Hopefully this is a happy one. It kind of could be sad. I'll be reacting to Ronnie Barker's obituary as talked by David Jason and Ronnie Colbert through interviews back in 2005 when Ronnie Barker passed away. Let's get into this.
At 6, Ronnie Barker, one of Britain's best-loved comedians, has died. In a career spanning more than half a century, he starred in hits like Porridge and Open All Hours.
4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
I love that.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
But he'll be remembered best for his partnership with Ronnie Corbett.
Yeah.
He was just an absolutely splendid, uniquely funny person.
Get the tissues ready, folks.
Good evening, welcome to the 6 o'clock news.
First tonight, the death of a comic genius. Ronnie Barker has died at the age of 76. He'd been suffering from heart problems for some time. His career spanned more than 50 years with hits like Porridge, Open All Hours, and of course that most enduring of partnerships, the two Ronnies. Today, Ronnie Corbett described him quite simply as pure gold in triplicate. We'll be hearing more from him in just a moment. But first, David Silito looks back at Ronnie Barker's remarkable career.
Ronnie Barker, and a lifetime of making us laugh. His comic characters and brilliant writing created some of British TV's most memorable moments.
Here you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
He was most famously one of the two Ronnies. It was a partnership that lasted 16 years.
Indeed it is. And in a packed programme tonight, I shall be meeting Elasto, Britain's most depressed contortionist, who last week tried to bend it all.
He turned to acting after a spell as a bank clerk. He quickly developed his ability to disappear behind hundreds of characters. They were skills learnt in weekly rep. And after a spell in radio, he turned to television, where he first teamed up with Ronnie Corbett.
There he is.
I look up to him because he is upper class, but I look down on him because he is lower class.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Me higher water, him lower water.
Me and Mrs. Higginbottom love it when we get put on these orchestra jobs. My first husband used to play the organ, so I've always quite liked twiddling. No.
Well, what seems to be the trouble?
The comic sketches and funny songs of the two Ronnies drew audiences of up to 17 million. It was a showcase of Ronnie Barker's skills both as a writer and a performer.
I've never known any comic performer who could create characters for situation comedies like Porridge and so on, and still do sort of roughhouse, broad sketches, 4 candles and all those things that we all remember so brilliantly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He himself thought, though, that his prison comedy Porridge was his best work.
Would you Adam and Eve? Go to jail.
Suffer from any illness? Bad feet.
In Norman Stanley Fletcher, he created a rounded character, cynical and soft-hearted, and the superbly written scripts showed off his impeccable timing.
Are you now, or have you at any time been a practicing homosexual? What were these feet?
And then there was Open All Hours. He was the stuttering shopkeeper Arkwright, tormenting Granville, played by David Jason.
Oh, and I'll have a dozen a date, a dozen a date. I'll have a dozen a date and walnut. And don't think that's 3 dozen I've just done.
I was privileged enough to play Granville to his Arkwright, and I think that was probably one of the most rewarding times that I'd had. We'd done a lot of series together.
And while comedy so often dates, many of Ronnie Barker's shows have survived, as funny now as they were 30 years ago.
He was, I think, without doubt, our finest comedy character comedian. One thinks of comics, they're the people who stand up and do jokes and gags. But Ronnie was in a realm all of his own.
What wonderful luck to be flanked on either side by my two best friends.
A recent BAFTA tribute said it all. This quiet, private man may have retired in 1987, but his shows have continued to do what he always wanted: make people laugh.
Goodbye to my friend Ronnie Barker. Much loved and sincerely missed. Thank you.
Shall we say goodnight, Ronnie?
I think we should. It's a good night for me.
And it's a
very good night from me.
Well, as we've heard, Ronnie Barker was one half of the two Ronnies, and Ronnie Corbett has been talking to the BBC about the man who was a friend and colleague for more than 40 years.
Wow.
Ronnie was the very best, 5-star, the creme de la creme.
Good evening. I'm from the Ministry of Sex Equality.
My
As a
God,
performer,
another great sketch.
as a writer and as a person, really. He was just, I mean, an absolute gem. This huge array of his talents and his voices and his characters. And he was, you know, an encyclopedia of comedy, really. So you're talking about the very best.
Yep.
Listen, Simon, I had to ring you up to find out how you got on with that fabulous new girl last night.
Not too bad. There were one or two things I couldn't quite get hold of.
We were on the same wavelength, yes. I mean, when we used to get scripts way ahead, when we filmed the filmed items, and then 12 weeks to say before we go in the studio, we'd get scripts that we would have to read, and we'd mark the top with A, B, A plus, or A minus, or B plus, B minus, and we'd come in the next day and look at the scripts, and we'd mark them all in the same way, so we absolutely agreed on what we thought was funny, which was, you know, a great plus, of course. Great
That's
benefit.
awesome. Yeah.
Next week, we'll be talking to a mathematician from Addingham, a wrestler from Nottingham, and a plumber from Flushingham. And doing our best to ignore a loudmouth from Effingham.
It was quite daunting to try and do a funny voice alongside, I can assure you, because he had, I mean, they came to him with such ease, you know. And me, who was just about quite good at pretending to be me, was very easily overshadowed by all these wondrous voices.
Yes?
Well, we'd like a meal, please.
2, is it?
Yes. Yes.
Have you booked?
It's empty.
He was just an absolute, a splendid, uniquely funny person.
Ronnie Corbett remembering his friend and colleague Ronnie Barker, who died today. And there'll be a special tribute programme on BBC One tonight at 10:35.
Aw, very sweet. Yeah, I agree with everything that you know, Ronnie Corbett said and everybody else said. Comedy genius was Ronnie Barker. 100% a comedic genius. Very funny. He seems like someone that you could just go to the pub and sit next to, you know, and have a pint next to and just chit chat for hours. Yeah, but they're right. His shows are still living on to today. So, yeah. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Stay safe and don't forget to wash your hands. Bye.